Okay, let's unpack this. Take a look around wherever you are right now. You'll probably see some furniture, maybe a chair, a table, lampstand, stuff that just, well, it just exists, right? Static. But what if that same chair could become, I don't know, a dynamic, data-rich asset with its entire history transparently tracked? What if it could even potentially earn you rewards just for keeping it in good condition?
What's fascinating here is precisely that revolutionary shift in thinking about physical objects. We're diving into a stack of source material today specifically, a strategic report that reveals some genuinely surprising insights into how blockchain technology and non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, are poised to fundamentally transform the furniture industry.
Yeah, it's a world we usually associate with digital collectibles or crypto, suddenly intersecting with your couch. It's kind of wild.
Exactly.
Exactly. Our mission for you today is to cut through the buzzwords and complexity and get straight to the core, the must-know nuggets about this potential transformation. We want you to walk away quickly and thoroughly informed on how something you might think of as purely digital or financial could possibly relate to the physical objects filling your home or office.
And the report lays out clearly that despite its massive size as a multi-billion-dollar global market, the furniture industry is grappling with some long-standing, really old-school problems.
Problems that impact you directly, right? Even if you don't always realize it. Like widespread counterfeiting. I mean, how can you be truly sure that designer chair you found online is the real deal?
Precisely. That's a huge one. Or the opaque global supply chains. It's incredibly difficult for consumers, and honestly, often even the brands themselves, to have genuine transparency on where raw materials originate, the actual conditions of manufacturing, or how a piece travels across continents.
Which brings us to the environmental side of things. The traditional model can be very linear. You know, you take resources, make a product, you use it, and eventually it's disposed of. A take, make, dispose loop.
Right.
And it's hard to get verifiable proof about a product's sustainability claims beyond, well, marketing materials.
And for the buyer, this all adds up to real difficulty verifying authenticity and provenance, the entire history of a piece, proving its origin, its chain of ownership, its condition. That's historically been manual, fragmented, and frankly, often unreliable.
Yeah.
And consumers are increasingly demanding verifiable sustainability and more flexibility in how they buy, own, and maybe dispose of furniture later on.
So you buy a piece, you might have questions about its authenticity, maybe its environmental footprint, or how hard it'll be to sell later if you move or redecorate. That's the traditional world. Now, here's where the report gets really interesting and offers a potential solution.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The report introduces the core concept of assigning a unique digital identity to each piece of furniture. Think of it as creating a comprehensive, tamper-proof passport for your table or chair.
And this passport is the NFT, is that the idea?
Yes, exactly, the non-fungible token. Unlike cryptocurrencies where every coin is identical and interchangeable like dollars, an NFT is unique. Each furniture NFT would have distinct properties tied specifically to that individual piece of furniture. The technical process, often called minting, involves creating this unique digital token on a blockchain and linking it to detailed information about the physical item it represents.
And the blockchain itself. Remind us quickly.
That's the underlying technology, a decentralized distributed ledger. Once the NFT is minted and linked, its record, along with subsequent transactions and data updates, is transparently and securely recorded across a network of computers. The key feature here is immutability.
Immutability, right.
Once data is on the blockchain, it's incredibly difficult, practically impossible to alter or forge.
Okay, so what kind of information are we talking about linking to this NFT passport? What goes in there?
A wealth of data, really, creating what the report calls a digital twin of the furniture. This includes obvious things like photographs and detailed descriptions, but also crucial data points like authenticity certificates from the manufacturer, materials used, where and when it was made.
Wow.
And perhaps most importantly, its complete ownership history. The report points out this isn't just theoretical. Luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Prada, and Cartier are already implementing similar digital passports for high-value goods.
Right, I've heard about that.
Yeah, tracking manufacturing details, inspection records, owner transfers. So it's a proven model for linking digital identities to physical assets.
They also mentioned decentralized identifiers, DIDs. What's that about?
Right. This is part of the underlying infrastructure that gives you, the user, control over your digital identity and the data linked to these assets using private keys. It's about empowering the owner, enhancing privacy and security within this transparent system.
So this linking mechanism, maybe an NFC chip or a QR code embedded in the furniture itself, connects the physical item to this dynamic digital record.
Exactly. It transforms furniture from just a static object into a dynamic, data-rich entity. It's far more than just proof of purchase, you see. It's an evolving, immutable record that mirrors the physical object's journey and state throughout its entire lifespan.
So once a piece has this digital passport, this NFT, what can that unlock throughout its life? What are the big benefits the report highlights here?
Well, first, comprehensive lifecycle tracking becomes possible. Because the blockchain record is immutable, every significant event, sales, repairs, transfers, is recorded permanently. This creates a verifiable audit trail that simply cannot be falsified.
So you get a completely transparent history with the provenance.
Precisely. Provenance, the history of ownership right from the origin, becomes fully transparent and traceable on the blockchain. This enhances accountability and allows for including really granular details about raw materials, production processes, distribution, the works.
And this level of detail has a huge implication for sustainability, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. You can move from claiming sustainability to actually proving it.
Ah, okay. That's a big deal.
It really is. Blockchain can immutably record data on material sourcing, manufacturing processes, and critically, sustainability certificates from third-party validators. This provides verifiable proof of environmental and ethical efforts from the forest or mine all the way to your home.
Like the Unilever example they mentioned.
Exactly. The report cites the example of Unilever using a system called Green Token by SAP to trace ethically sourced palm oil, demonstrating that this is already happening for complex global supply chains.
So integrating those sustainability certificates directly into the NFT's provenance record, that's a powerful idea for consumers.
It really is a game changer for conscious consumers. It's not just marketing rhetoric anymore. It's verifiable, immutable proof tied to the individual item. This creates a powerful narrative, influencing purchasing decisions and genuinely driving broader industry adoption of sustainable and ethical practices. Brands could command a premium for furniture with proven, on-chain sustainable sourcing.
And this digital twin concept, it also tracks maintenance.
Absolutely. The digital twin securely stores and verifies all maintenance records throughout the furniture's operational life. This often leverages Internet of Things or IoT devices, sensors embedded in the furniture that can track usage duration, environmental conditions, maybe even component performance.
Like a sensor in my armchair telling me how many hours I've spent binge watching.
Theoretically possible, maybe a bit creepy, but yes, that kind of granular data. This real-time operational data is immutably logged on the blockchain, replacing potentially unreliable manual records.
And the detail can be quite extensive.
Very. Operational duration of specific components, the identity and credentials of the technician who performed a repair, details of every examination or part replaced. And smart contracts can automate updating the record or even triggering maintenance notifications. This integration of IoT data, blockchain's immutability, and smart contract automation shifts maintenance from being reactive, fixing things after they break, to proactive or even predictive.
Predicting failure.
Potentially, yes. Identifying potential issues and maintaining the furniture before a failure occurs. This optimizes performance, ensures safety, and crucially, significantly extends the useful life of the furniture.
And the report points out that these verifiable maintenance records have a direct impact on value, particularly for resale.
They absolutely do. Verified on-chain maintenance records significantly enhance resale value, just like a detailed service history boosts the value of a used car, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
A transparent, immutable record of consistent professional care and authenticated replacement parts gives potential buyers undeniable confidence in the quality and longevity of the piece. This creates a distinct premium tier in the secondhand market, overcoming a major barrier of uncertainty for buyers.
Speaking of the secondhand market, that feels like another area just ripe for this kind of digital transformation. What are the traditional problems there, and how does this tech address them?
Well, the biggest problems are authentication failures and just a general lack of trust. Traditional methods like holograms or serial numbers, they can be faked. Counterfeiting is a massive headache in the secondhand luxury market, and while maybe less discussed, it definitely affects furniture too.
So how does blockchain make authentication better, more reliable?
By providing that decentralized, immutable ledger we talked about, it records the item's entire journey from its creation. Scanning the QR or NFC tag on the furniture allows instant verification against that immutable on-chain record of authenticity. The fact that blockchain records can't be forged prevents manipulation of the item's identity. Plus, the comprehensive supply chain traceability for new items makes it harder for fakes to even enter the market in the first place.
And AI is part of the picture too, the report mentioned.
Yes, it's a powerful complement. AI image recognition and machine learning algorithms can analyze minute physical details, things like stitching patterns, logo placement, material textures, to detect potential counterfeits before they're even listed for sale on a marketplace.
So it's like a double layer of security.
Exactly. The real power is the synergy. Blockchain provides the verifiable history, the digital passport from origin, and AI provides real-time physical verification. This multi-layered dynamic defense is exponentially harder for counterfeiters to bypass than relying on static methods alone.
So it makes buying secondhand much safer and more trustworthy overall.
Significantly. And this trust extends to the transaction itself. Blockchain's immutable transaction records can reduce the need for traditional intermediaries. Smart contracts provide verifiable proof of ownership, automatically transferring the NFT representing the furniture when the purchase conditions are met.
So smart contracts are essentially automating trust. That's a neat way to think about it.
That's a great way to put it. They automate the transaction process, ensuring payment is released only when predefined conditions like successful authenticity verification or maybe even a third-party condition check are met.
Right.
This significantly reduces reliance on intermediaries like escrow services, de-risking transactions for both buyers and sellers, and making the whole process much faster.
No more uncertainty. And easier access to history helps with evaluation too, presumably.
Absolutely. Verifiable provenance directly influences value. You can back up the prestige, rarity, or intrinsic worth of a piece with its documented, immutable history. No more guesswork.
And valuation becomes more objective, less subjective.
Much more so. AI algorithms can analyze all that verified data, current market trends, historical sales data for similar authenticated pieces, the item's specific condition may be pulled from its digital twin, and its unique provenance to provide accurate, dynamic pricing. This combination of blockchain-verified data and AI analysis shifts valuation away from purely subjective appraisals towards a dynamic, fair, and efficient pricing mechanism. This fosters much greater market liquidity in the second-hand space. The report highlights this difference clearly, contrasting subjective manual processes with verifiable AI-driven methods.
Okay, so beyond just tracking and selling, can furniture actually generate value over time just by being used or maintained? This sounds like one of those really surprising nuggets from the report.
It absolutely can. This is where the report delves into really innovative value models, often described using the term tokenomics. Tokenomics is essentially about designing the economic system around digital tokens to incentivize specific behaviors and drive growth within an ecosystem.
And asset tokenization plays a role here, converting rights into tokens.
Yes. It involves converting ownership rights or interests in an asset, in this case, furniture, into digital tokens. These could be utility tokens that grant access to features, maybe voting rights or rewards. Applying tokenomics transforms furniture from what we typically see as a depreciating physical good into a dynamic, programmable asset capable of generating ongoing value and fostering continuous user engagement. It sort of embeds economic logic into the object itself, so it can potentially earn value or provide benefits based on how you interact with it.
Like with proof of use or proof of maintenance models that were mentioned. How do those work?
Those are key examples. These models rely on verifiable usage and maintenance data collected by those IoT sensors we discussed. That data is immutable, time-stamped, and logged on the blockchain. Smart contracts are then programmed to automatically issue digital token rewards based on this verified data.
So wait, you could get rewarded with tokens just for properly cleaning your sofa or, I don't know, regularly maintaining your smart desk?
Potentially, yes, precisely. Digital token rewards provide a tangible incentive for pro-environmental and pro-social actions like diligent maintenance, maybe active use within a shared community space, or participating in manufacturer take-back programs. This creates a powerful incentive for consumers to properly care for their furniture, which directly extends its lifespan and reduces waste. These tokenomic models create a powerful circular economy incentive loop. It's quite clever. Rewarding care and usage directly encourages behaviors that extend product life and reduce waste, contributing to a more sustainable and responsible economy.
And are there other benefits or rewards for this kind of engaged, tokenized ownership beyond just maintenance?
Definitely. The value isn't purely monetary, though it can be. Usage data could provide personalized benefits, like discounts on complementary products or services. The NFT can document a consumer's history of engagement purchases, participation in events which would qualify them for customized rewards, unique brand experiences, or brand-exclusive tokens exchangeable for future items or services.
Sort of like a supercharged loyalty program.
In a way, yes, but much more integrated. The report mentions luxury items being tokenized not just for ownership, but also to provide things like digital discount coupons or access to exclusive events tied directly to that NFT.
And gamification comes into play, making it fun.
That's the layer that makes it fun and engaging, exactly. Applying game elements like points, badges, challenges, and leaderboards incentivizes user participation. This builds community around the brand or the furniture ecosystem, enhances user retention, and fosters loyalty. Rewards could be anything from a virtual badge to a real-world discount or access to a unique event. And beyond the purely transactional tokenized ownership unlocks significant experiential and community benefits. The report suggests things like exclusive access to virtual showrooms, maybe augmented reality previews of new collections right in your home.
Oh, that's cool.
Private design workshops, early access to new products, personalized consultations, and perhaps most fascinatingly, even voting rights in a design DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization.
A DAO for furniture design.
Yeah, where owners collectively influence or vote on future product designs. This fosters a much deeper, more interactive relationship. Users become almost like co-creators and feel more like co-owners of the brand's direction.
That paints a truly futuristic picture.
Yeah.
And it leads to another fascinating concept in the report: liquid furniture markets. You mentioned it briefly, but imagine not just buying a whole sofa, but buying, selling, or trading individual modules, an armrest, a specific cushion, a leg each as its own digital asset. That sounds radical.
Yes, envisioning a future where furniture, particularly modular systems, is managed with unprecedented flexibility because components are separate, tradable digital assets. In this model, individual modules could be bought, sold, rented, or combined as separate digital assets, creating dynamic configuration options for the user.
Like applying fractional ownership, but to the actual parts.
It builds on fractional ownership principles, yes, but applied at the component level. While traditional fractional ownership might be for a share of a single high-value item, here it's about having distinct ownership tokens for individual parts that make up a larger piece of furniture.
Are there examples of this happening?
The report points to real-world analogies like advanced hydroponics kits and specifically mentions the Furniture for Future project, which is exploring how each individual part of furniture can have its own digital twin and token that transfers upon sale.
So each module gets its own unique NFT with its own history.
Exactly. Each individual module would have its own unique NFT encoding its specific attributes: material, color, design, unique serial number, and its entire history. This allows for incredibly granular digital ownership and management. Tokenizing individual modules, rather than just entire pieces, unlocks unprecedented personalization and adaptability. It transforms furniture from a fixed product into a dynamic, user-configurable service almost.
A service.
Yeah, you're not just buying a piece of furniture, you're getting access to a flexible system you can constantly reconfigure, upgrade by swapping parts, or even downsize by selling modules you no longer need.
And this enables fractional ownership of modules, potentially making high-end or custom furniture more accessible to more people.
Yes, significantly increasing accessibility and investment opportunities. Fractional ownership of specific desirable modules could democratize access to high-value or custom components. Fractionalization also inherently increases market liquidity. It's much easier to trade smaller shares or individual modules than finding a buyer for an entire large piece of furniture.
Makes
right?
sense.
And smart contracts can manage the complex ownership structures and potentially grant fractional owners specific rights, like voting on the shared use or future disposition of a module.
And collaborative design or ownership becomes a real possibility through this, like those DAOs you mentioned.
Absolutely. Think of DAOs emerging around specific furniture lines or modular systems, where members collectively own and manage a pool of modular furniture NFTs. They could vote on how shared modules are used, decisions related to maintenance, sale, or even contribute design ideas or vote on future design iterations, creating a truly decentralized and community-driven ecosystem. The combination of modular tokenization and fractional ownership democratizes access to high-end design, fosters collaborative ownership, and builds community around the furniture itself. Co-ownership allows groups to pool resources and influence product evolution.
To make this vision of creatable modules a reality, though,
Yeah.
you need specialized marketplaces, right?
Yeah.
You can't just list an armrest NFT on OpenSea easily, I guess.
Exactly. Realizing liquid furniture markets requires developing specialized secondary marketplaces specifically designed for trading these furniture NFTs or individual module tokens. This directly addresses the inherent illiquidity of physical furniture, the fact that it's historically very hard to sell quickly and efficiently. The concept of liquid NFT marketplaces, already emerging in the broader NFT space, would need to be adapted for physical assets like furniture modules.
And smart contracts automate the trading process here, too.
Yes. Smart contracts are essential to automate the buy, sell, and even rental processes efficiently and securely without relying on traditional intermediaries. This also opens up possibilities for flexible rental models for specific components. Imagine renting a unique headboard module for just a few months, creating a dynamic, service-oriented ecosystem around furniture consumption.
So the ultimate goal of tokenization in these platforms is to take physical furniture, which is typically illiquid, and transform it into something much more tradable, more dynamic, potentially even an investment-friendly asset class.
That's precisely the aim. It seeks to remove the friction, the subjectivity, and the lack of transparency in the traditional market, making transactions faster, more trustworthy, and unlocking previously locked-up value in physical goods. The benefits outlined in the report are really wide-ranging.
Yeah, you see benefits for consumers.
Right. Personalization, flexibility, accessibility.
For businesses.
New revenue streams, enhanced loyalty, reduced counterfeiting.
The market itself.
Increased liquidity, objective valuation.
And even environmentally.
Definitely. Through promoting a circular economy and reducing waste. It touches everything. Now, while the potential is clearly immense, the report also provides a necessary dose of reality. Implementing this is not without significant hurdles. It's not simple.
Okay, let's talk about the challenges. What are some of the big ones?
Well, technical challenges are primary. Scalability is a major issue. Many public blockchain networks just have limited transaction speeds. We're talking maybe 7 to 30 transactions per second for something like Ethereum historically. That's far too slow for a system potentially handling millions of furniture pieces or modules with frequent data updates from IoT sensors.
Right, that wouldn't work. And transaction costs, the famous gas fees.
Exactly. High transaction costs can be a significant barrier for minting or updating NFTs, especially if you're logging frequent data like IoT sensor readings. This cost needs to be manageable, near negligible, really, for widespread adoption. Data storage is also a growing challenge as these blockchain ledgers get larger and larger over time. These scalability and cost issues mean you absolutely cannot just put everything on a single standard public blockchain like Ethereum mainnet. It requires specialized architectural solutions.
Like what?
This means exploring things like layer 2 scaling solutions built on top of existing blockchains, using modular chains designed for specific types of data, or implementing hybrid approaches where only the most critical, high-integrity data goes on-chain, while more granular data is stored off-chain but verifiable with on-chain proofs. The technical architecture is a fundamental constraint that needs really careful design.
What about different systems needing to talk to each other? Interoperability, if different brands use different tech.
Crucial for a global market involving multiple brands and platforms. You need cross-chain solutions to allow NFTs or data to move seamlessly between different blockchain ecosystems. And securing the integration of physical IoT sensors with the digital blockchain, ensuring the data is trustworthy and hasn't been tampered with at the source, is paramount. That physical-digital link has to be robust.
Okay, beyond the tech, what about legal and regulatory issues? The report touches on that complexity.
Yeah, this is a complex, fragmented, and very rapidly evolving landscape globally. Legal recognition of NFTs varies significantly from country to country. Regulatory bodies are still figuring out how to classify NFTs. Are they property, securities, collectibles, something else entirely?
And it depends on how they're used.
Exactly. It often depends on their function. The Financial Action Task Force, FATF, for example, recommends a substance over form approach, looking at what the NFT does rather than just what it's called. Operating internationally means navigating potentially contradictory rules and needing a proactive, adaptable compliance strategy. There are also ongoing challenges with the volatility in NFT valuation and ensuring compliance with anti-money laundering, AML, and counter-terrorist financing, CFT regulations, particularly given the often pseudonymous nature of blockchain transactions. It's a minefield.
Data privacy seems like a really big one, too. If IoT sensors are tracking how I use my furniture, that's sensitive personal info being put on somewhere.
Absolutely. There's a significant tension between the transparency inherent in many blockchains and the need for user data privacy, particularly regarding usage patterns, location data, or even maintenance history tied to an individual. Regulations like GDPR in Europe are very relevant here.
So how do you solve that? Privacy on public ledger.
Well, the solution requires sophisticated cryptography, such as zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs. These allow you to verify that a statement is true, like this furniture has been used for X hours or maintenance was performed by an authorized tech, without revealing the underlying sensitive data itself.
Okay, that's clever.
Decentralized identifiers, DIDs, also give users control over their identity and how their data is shared. And hybrid architectures, storing sensitive data off-chain with only cryptographic proofs or hashes on-chain, are also necessary. Simply putting all granular data directly on a public blockchain is likely not a privacy-friendly approach long-term.
And general cybersecurity risks are still there. Phishing, scams.
Always. The crypto space faces standard cybersecurity threats, fake NFTs designed to scam buyers, phishing attempts to steal private keys, and potential vulnerabilities in the smart contract code itself. Mitigation requires rigorous security audits of smart contracts, implementing multi-factor authentication for user accounts, and continuous user education about potential risks. You can't let your guard down.
And then there's just getting people comfortable with this whole new concept of furniture as a digital asset. User adoption must be a challenge.
Definitely. Overcoming the complexity for mainstream users and ensuring the reliability of that physical-digital link, making sure the NFT truly represents the physical item and its state, are key challenges highlighted in the report. People need to see the clear benefit.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows that the furniture industry, something we think of as very traditional, very physical, could be on the cusp of a fundamental shift driven by blockchain and NFTs. It's about moving towards digital identities, verifiable histories, completely new value models, and potentially much more liquid markets.
Exactly. It unlocks potential for unprecedented transparency and guaranteed authenticity, verifiable sustainability claims, radical personalization, revolutionizing the secondhand market, creating real incentives for caring for products, and unlocking incredible flexibility in ownership and usage. The potential is huge.
But realizing this ambitious future absolutely depends on overcoming the significant challenges we discussed: the technical scaling issues, navigating complex regulations, championing privacy and security from the ground up, and successfully fostering user adoption by making the benefits clear and accessible.
Right. The report's conclusion emphasizes that success requires strategic investment in scalable and secure technology, a proactive approach to navigating the evolving regulatory landscape, prioritizing user privacy and security and system design from day one, and effectively communicating the tangible value proposition of this digitally enhanced furniture to consumers to drive adoption. It's a multifaceted challenge.
That was a fascinating look at how digital technology could fundamentally reshape something as familiar and seemingly static as our furniture. Really eye-opening.
It really is. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener. This transformation could mean that the objects in your home aren't just things you buy, use, and eventually discard, but dynamic assets with a verifiable story, potentially increasing in value that you can easily reconfigure, trade, or even earn from based on how you use and care for them. Consider how that shift in perception might change the way you think about the objects you live with every day.